Hey everybody, Derek here to bring another video for The Walking Dead Season 5. And this is going to be a review for the episode that just premiered, which is Spend. There's a lot to talk about, so I'm going to get started right now. This is major spoilers. So if you have not seen the episode, do not watch the video, because you will be spoiled. Okay. Definitely a very shocking episode. One that was, again, very devastating. And it really seems like Walking Dead has really become more devastating this season than in past seasons. Just so many sad episodes and so many sad deaths. We had more deaths in this episode. Um, Aiden, Deanna and Reg's older son died, and we lost somebody from our group, Noah, who we were just getting to know. That was weird. It's like somebody that was just introduced, and then of course it's from both sides. Like both sides lost somebody, and it was sad. Um, Aiden pretty much got himself killed because he's an arrogant son of a gun who doesn't listen to anybody. He ends up shooting a walker which had armor on it, but it had a grenade on him. So when Aiden shot the walker, it blew up and he got impaled against some poles in the wall. And the group tried to save him, and they weren't able to do it because he was just too impaled. And of course, we had Nicholas along with the group who could not basically pull Aiden off, and of course he was afraid. He ran away, which was pretty much what he did the entire episode. But I'll get to that later. And then Noah died because the group they got trapped inside of a revolving door. And once again, they tried to work together, but Nicholas wasn't having it. Nicholas broke out. He was able to get out and run away. And then when he did, since it was a revolving door, it moved, and then the walkers were able to get in. And then they grabbed Noah, and Glenn wasn't able to pull him back because there was too many walkers. And Noah just gets pushed up against the glass and eaten. Very, very sad and very devastating. I mean, it's bad enough that he had to die like that, but to be pushed against the glass, absolutely sad. Um, Definitely one of the most shocking deaths, in my opinion, on the show. So I want to get to what all happened. In this episode, the group decides to go on a run to basically get, I think they're called micro inverters or converters, something like that, for the solar panels for energy into the safe zone. And the people that go on that are Eugene, Tara, Noah, Glenn, Nicholas, and Aiden. So they go out there and everything goes fine at first, but then there are walkers in the building, which leads to Aiden shooting the walker, blowing it up, and then walkers just get in and converge on the area. Tara is injured in the blast. She was knocked out. She hit her head. There was blood. We don't really know the status of her at this point. I'm assuming that she is still alive, but what will happen, we don't know. But despite all the sadness, there was some good moments that happened here, and that was Eugene. Eugene really stepped up in this episode because what ended up happening was Eugene didn't want to go at the start of the episode. He was trying everything that he could to get out of going, and they're like, "No, you're going. We need to get the supplies. You know about them. You're going, okay?" And of course, he's admitted before that he was a coward, and he was talking with Tara earlier and just admitting again that he is a coward. That he is somebody that cannot step up. He admits it, and that starts out to be true. Walkers are converging on him and Tara, and he can't step up, and Glenn and Noah had to step in for him. And thankfully, he decides to grow a set, and he does end up saving Tara while the group is distracting while the group is taking care of Aiden. Eugene is able to get in the van, and he's able to get the walkers away from the revolving door, which basically ends up saving Nicholas and Glenn. But Noah was not able to make it out. But it was nice to see Eugene step up in this episode, and it was really nice to see that he was able to, brave up a little bit. And I hope that they continue to explore that in the near future. Some other things that happened: Abraham joined the construction crew. The group was attacked by walkers on their supply run while they were getting supplies for the walls, and what was interesting was the other members of the group were not very combat experienced. And you can see this throughout the whole entire episode, how much the Alexandria Safe Zone community members are not combat ready. They are not able to defend themselves as well. Out of all of them, like Aiden kinda maybe seemed like he was kinda, but not anywhere near effective as the rest of our group. And he even admits, Aiden earlier in the episode admits that he left his group members behind. And that's just what they're about. And you saw that throughout the whole entire episode. Aiden admitting that he left his crew members behind on the last run, Nicholas abandoning the group twice to save his own rear end, and then at the construction site, this girl named Francine fell off her perch, and the rest of the group's just like, well, we can't do nothing. All right, everybody group together, and we'll try to kill as many of the walkers as we can, just leaving Francine to get eaten. Well, thank God Abraham was there, or else Francine would have been eaten. And Abraham does step up and kills a lot of the walkers and saves Francine, and he becomes the leader of the construction crew, kind of like how he does in the comics. It was also nice to see Abraham in this episode, and you saw that he was a little bit nervous about going out there. And I saw Talking Dead, and part of the reason for that was because Abraham sees like the kind of individual that he's become, and we've seen that, that when he kills walkers, he laughs about it, he smiles, he's making jokes. It changes him into this person that he admits that he doesn't like, and I think that he saw that in himself, and anytime he goes outside that wall, he becomes that person that he doesn't like. So I don't know if he'll be dealing with that personality of his later on or not, but I could understand where he was coming from, and I think that it's definitely something that they can work on with Abraham in the upcoming episodes. A couple of other things that were going on. Rick and Carol are basically having some interactions with the Anderson family in their own ways. Rick talked with Jesse again and found out that the owl sculpture that she and Sam were working on was destroyed. And then Sam ends up talking with Carol, and which I thought was very interesting. You would think that this kid is afraid of Carol and doesn't want anything to do with him, but then you find out a couple of things. He wants more cookies, and Carol, says, okay, fine, but you're going to go steal the chocolate, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that. And then it later leads to a conversation about him wanting a gun, to maybe give to his mother, I think maybe. I don't know who he was going to give it to. He said it was for somebody else. But you discover that Pete Anderson, like in the comics, is abusing his family. This is very clear, Basically, you could tell by, the way that Sam was acting. Plus, it's Carol. Carol can recognize that, abuse because she was a victim of it. And I think that what Sam was doing in this sense, because again, I was shocked that he would go to Carol after Carol threatened him, but my thought was, hold on a minute, this woman threatened me and she scared me, but if she's that scary, then maybe she can scare my father. And I think that was part of his thinking was, even though Carol threatened him, that's something that he probably experiences in his life quite a bit, if his father is like that. And I think that he sees Carol as somebody that could potentially save him from what's going on. And I think that it was definitely good thinking on his part to go to Carol, and I think that, Carol being able to recognize that is going to be able to, lend to the situation later on in the season. Carol does try to go investigate, but she's not able to. And, because Pete tells her, nope, not a good time, get the heck out of my house, bye. And Carol knows what's going on. And at the end of the episode, she tells Rick that he's going to need to take action and kill Pete. Definitely very, very, very shocking. Very, a very good scene, I think, which may lend to later on in the season things that might happen. But I think that there will be a showdown between Rick and Pete coming up, just like in the comics, and I'm very excited to see where they're going with that. But they did kind of put a start to that conflict in this episode. And just some of the other things going on again is, we do get to see the inexperience of the Alexandria people that basically ended up getting Aiden himself killed, and then Nicholas getting Noah killed. And what's sad is that it's going to have a big effect on Glenn. Because Glenn was right there with Noah. He was trying to save him. He was trying to save everybody because that's who Glenn is. You know, he has always been that person who will step up for people and wants to keep his family intact and wants to help. He's not going to leave people behind. That's just not who he is. And you saw him try to save Aiden against all odds. And that's just always been the way that he is. Ever since the moment that he saved Rick back in Atlanta, we've known that's what Glenn is about. And this is the first time, and even Stephen Yeun said it in Talking Dead, this is the first time that Glenn's ever failed. And it's true. Glenn has never failed in his objective to save people if he was able to do something about it, granted. Because he even says, and it's true, all the other deaths that happened on the show, either Glenn wasn't there or Glenn was not a factor in that person dying. Here he is. You know, he was not able to pull Noah away from the walkers. And, you know, whether it was possible or not is, you know, is not the factor here. The factor is that he wanted to save Noah and he couldn't. And I think this is going to be very hard for him in the later part of this season, which may end up causing a fight between Glenn and Maggie because one of the things that happens in the comics is Maggie doesn't want Glenn to go out on the run because she knows how dangerous it is. And seeing what happens this time, I think will lend to them having a discussion about you're not going back out there and Glenn being very conflicted and very upset about what to do. So I think that it will have ramifications for him later down the road. And then the final thing, the other really big thing that happened was Jerk Gabriel. This is a comic book scene, but it played out a little differently. In the comics, Gabriel does go to Douglas and he tells Douglas that Rick's group is dangerous. He sees them as dangerous individuals, but Douglas kind of dismisses him and goes, hey, you know, people have to survive and they did what they had to do. And Deanna kind of takes the same approach, but a little bit different in the end because that's what Gabriel does. Gabriel in the beginning of the episode, he's like ripping pages out of the Bible, you know, just, I don't know. But then he goes to Deanna at the end of the episode and tells Deanna that Rick's group is dangerous. And he compares them to Satan disguising himself as a white light. And he's trying to say that, you know, Rick's group may seem like they're saviors and all that and that they're good people, but they're not. And he thinks that they're going to destroy this community. And I think that, you know, everybody has their own view. The people that just came in from Rick's group have their own view of what they want to see out of Alexandria. And I think that what Gabriel wants to see out of it is like a community just like it was before, without people in it that have had to do terrible, horrible, immoral things in his mind. But, of course, you know, not like Gabriel's innocent, okay? Gabriel did lock people out of his church, which, if you ask me, is just as bad as killing them. So, does he have room to talk? I don't think so. But it will be interesting to see how that conversation fits in, because Deanna tells Gabriel that she has to consider it, whether she will consider it. Now, whether she was telling him because she just wanted him to get the heck out of there, maybe, or maybe she was being sincere that she would take his thoughts into consideration. I don't know. And knowing that Aiden, her son, is dead now, may change her perspective a little bit now that she's lost somebody. And how that situation is going to go down, I don't know. But I'll have more to talk on that with my predictions and things in my next video. But I think that, you know, that's definitely going to change things. Oh, and of course, the other thing is Maggie overhears this conversation because it takes place in Deanna's house, and Maggie was kind of hiding. She's like coming out of the basement. She like hid in like the around the corner below the staircase, so she heard everything that Gabriel said. And it makes me wonder, you know, she's going to run back and go, hey, Rick, guess what Gabriel said? And what's going to happen to Gabriel in the next episode. I mean, maybe nothing, but I don't think it's going to bode very well for him. So we'll have to see how that turns out. But that took away some very good points for Gabriel. You know, I was thinking that maybe there was a chance that they might try to turn this character around. They may still, but this may be an indication that Gabriel is going to be a very much despised character or somebody that will die, as a result of everything that happened. I don't know what's going to happen, but next week I cannot wait. It's going to be a hard 7 days to wait for this one. But that's all I have for this video. I want to thank you all for watching. If you guys have any questions or comments, don't be afraid to leave them. Feel free to subscribe. I do have more videos coming. And if you guys have any suggestions you want to see for the next 2 weeks, or maybe after these next 2 weeks, because I will still do videos after the season is over to kind of tide over some of the wait. So if you want to see anything, don't be afraid to post it in the comments or send me a message. You guys have a wonderful week, and thank you very much for watching.